representing Canada at the Youth Championships in 2019, as well as Wellington, Florida in 2020. Currently, Annie's focus is on helping horses across all disciplines build strength through the classical foundations of dressage. Her training approach is deeply influenced by experts Jolie Mann and Paul Velasic. Looking ahead, Annie is excited to compete with her mare, Violeta, at the small tour level. She's also excited and committed to supporting her clients in achieving their goals both within and beyond the dressage arena. And I'm very happy that Annie could come and ride Georgie today. So thank you again, Annie. And Annie's going to run you through sort of what a schooling session with Georgie is like. So I'll let her take over the mic.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for being here. It's an honor to be in the ring and to be riding Georgie today. And he's got some opinions about it, but is excited to show off for you. So I've been working with Georgie for, I think we figured just about 2 months now. And what I've been really focusing on with him is building up his strength and also his flexibility. With the Standardbreds, and especially the trotters, the ones off the track, what I've found is that they're quite stuck in their shoulders, and then they also have the tendency to push through the bottom of their neck and their core, so they're almost pushing out and bracing. And the point of dressage is to get them engaging and pushing over their back and holding themselves in more a little bit of self-carriage, as well as moving away from the leg, so I'm stretching out his right side and his left side. So he's just starting to figure out some of that. And it's hard for him. It's hard mentally and it's hard physically to figure out what I'm asking, but he really does take everything in stride here. So I'll just pick up a bit of a trot, and his initial go-to is kind of to fall forward. And so we've been working a lot on trying to get him to pick up his neck, because if I can pick up his neck, then I create more room for his shoulders to come through and for him to sit on his hind end. If I let him fall forward, which I'll just do here, he's probably going to speed up, and then his trot gets a little bit quicker, and then it tends to get a little bit more uneven. If I can pick it up a bit, then I can help to balance him with my hand and my half halt, and keep him on his hind end. Boy. And then with my inside leg, I'm just massaging his rib cage a little bit to keep him from falling in. Every horse has a side that they like to fall in on. For him, it is the left side, but he's getting much better. And then I'll just walk and let him change rein. So when I first start to get a horse going, I like to let them have a jog each way, just to warm up their backs a little bit. My expectations aren't too high right at the beginning. I like to just get a feeling for the horse and where they're at that day. And this is a lot for him to handle, so I don't really mind if he's going to toss his head a little bit. He's doing a really good job of doing everything I'm asking. And really important is when he tosses his head, or when he loses his rhythm, or when he walks. I don't want to get mad at him because he's trying. So I'm just going to keep asking. I'm not going to increase or decrease my pressure. I'm just going to wait for him to find me. If I ride everything a horse throws at me that I didn't ask for, then I'm going to get stuck in a bit of a trap. But if I stay consistent to my end goal, the horse can find me. I also don't want a horse going too quickly right at the beginning, because that tends to mean that they're falling on their forehand. Now, taught, and that's how they're built. So you'll see that Georgie, he will try to pull down, and I have to keep in mind and go, no, stay up a little bit. And then again, with half faults, I just try to keep him balancing on his hind end. Also, this little bit smaller of a space, it's harder for horses to hold their balance on, especially when they're young horses like Georgie. They find it easier on the straightaway because they can kind of push themselves a little bit more. Here they have to take more weight on that inside hind leg, so he's getting a good workout being in here. So I'll just give him a little bit of a walk break. While I do, are there any questions I can answer? I know we're right at the beginning, but if there's anything at all I can help with or burning questions, please feel free to ask.
I guess, Annie, maybe we'd like to know too, you know, if you find a difference in working with him. He's really been your first Standardbred, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
There was one that I was on when I was quite young, and now that I'm on him and have a little bit more experience, it's actually quite eye-opening reflecting on that other mare that I was on, but yeah, he is the one that I've worked with the most seriously, I would say.
And what can you tell us in terms of trainability have you found with him?
So easy. He's a really, really lovely horse to work with because the work ethic that he has, it really impresses me. He just tries so hard every single day, and the wins that we get together, he seems to really internalize them and then bring them out the next day. So I would say, in terms of trainability, again, I don't know a ton of Standardbreds, but if I speak on my experience with him, he's come along a lot faster than any of the warm bloods that I've gotten to work with, which is what we typically have in dressage is warm bloods. But he's picked up on a lot of the concepts, I would say quite a bit quicker, and he doesn't really have any pushback to it, which is quite nice. A lot of the times, especially younger horses, they can have a little bit of strong reactions sometimes to some of these strategies or these concepts, but with him, he really does just try, and then once he figures it out, he's got it. And that's a little bit of what I'm going to start to show here. So I could push on him a little bit more now that he's had a good warm-up, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try to pick up his neck a little bit more, and it's harder work for him because that's really stretching over his back, and it's getting him to engage his core. And that's why he's going to try to probably run through my outside rein a little bit to try and evade that. He might try to run into a bit of a trot, so I'm just going to say no. And then here I'm just going to be patient and really set up my trot transition well. It's worth it to spend the time in the walk because then it'll make the transition a lot more beneficial. And when we talk about strength building, the transitions are really what builds the horse's strength. So to me, it doesn't matter how much time I spend in trot, it doesn't matter how much time I spend in walk. The biggest thing for me is the quality of the transition so that I can make sure that I'm targeting the muscle groups that I want to target and that are going to help him in his long-term career. Here he's getting a little bit upset. He's trying to fall into the inside. So I'm just coming with my left leg and not giving him that out either. And so a lot of horses, they'll try to twist against your leg or try to find an evasion to using their body properly. And that's everything he's throwing at me right now, which is completely fine. I'm just going to stay the same, give him little suggestions, and try to redirect him. Here, good boy. Here. And then I'm able to get a better quality transition, and for that I actually get a better quality trot. It's a lot easier if I have a good walk to take that into a good transition and then into a good trot. It's a lot harder if I go and rush my transition and don't set up my trot properly, then I have to scramble a lot more. I'm not saying you don't have to work, because I'm still working up here, but it makes it a little bit easier. There. And then I'm going to bring him back to walk. Again, I want to keep him up a little bit and stepping through his body. I know, buddy.
So I'm just going to mention, because I know people wonder,
Yeah.
how long has he been under saddle? And I can answer that personally. But,
Perfect.
I basically didn't start him. He was just still in his 3-year-old year when he was came into my hands, and so I did a lot of groundwork and core strength training in that first period of time. And when I started riding him was when he turned 4 in the spring, but it was light ride. So he's really basically just barely been under saddle for a year now. So we haven't started canter work under saddle, but that's coming, right, Annie?
It's coming probably next week, which I'm really excited about, but there is a reason that we haven't started the canter under saddle, and it's because he didn't have the strength to. And so that's why a lot of our training has been what you see right here. The transitions, working on the quality of the trot, and helping him to gain his strength. When we started a month ago, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold what he's holding now for more than 5 steps. And so his strength has really improved to the point where, where he's strong enough to hold a good quality canter and to also make a good quality transition, because that's really what it's all about, is the quality of the transition.
Now we have a few minutes left, so I'll ask anybody in the audience if they have any questions for Annie. Anything about training the Standardbred for dressage? He's also a wonderful driving horse, and all of this work is really helping him with the driving as well, because I do plan on doing some hopefully combined driving with him. I think he's probably bold enough, and he's very, very nice to work. He's very soft, and like I say, this work is really crossing over into the driving. Any last minute words from you, Annie?
Yeah, you just kind of sparked a comment for me too, and that a lot of the time we can get really caught up in our own disciplines, and in a lot of cases there may or may not be crossover between the two, but dressage really, I'm not biased, I promise, but it is one of those ones where it does benefit every single discipline, because it focuses on strength, it focuses on mobility, it focuses on flexibility. So even for an older horse who maybe you just want a pleasure ride, all the foundations of dressage are going to help that horse live a better quality life, because you're working on all the things that even as athletes or as people who are aging, we want mobility, we want flexibility, we want that to last. And the dressage work really does take care of that and helps the horse live a better quality life, perform better in a competition no matter what the discipline. And so that's why we started focusing on dressage with Georgie, is for those reasons. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Annie. Let's give it Annie and Georgie in. Again, thank you. Thanks to all our participants today.